Hello and welcome in. I'm Atticus Peed from Cardiff Met Sport TV, here today with Brandon Roberts, Cardiff Mets forward, number 23 for Cardiff Met. Brandon, how are you today?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. How are you, Atticus?
Life's good. Thank you for taking the time to join us this afternoon.
No worries.
So we'll start with, first of all, I don't know a whole lot about you. So tell me, first of all, how long have you been playing football? Talk about that first.
So, I started playing football around 3 in my local community centre. So, I'm 18 now, so it's been long 15 years. So I've played for grassroots football, then come up to the county level, and now obviously with Cardiff Met in the first team.
Awesome. So you've played football for quite a long time then. Have you always played as a forward?
Yeah, always. Yeah, I haven't played any other position apart from a winger.
Now, obviously, being a forward is a little different than most other positions. How did you have to learn to be a forward? Is this just something that's ingrained in you as part of your identity, something you've had to learn?
Well, I've always had pace on my side, and to be a winger, if you class it as a forward that I'm in, I just knew that going to my local community centre, playing grassroots football, I just knew that I had that pace on my side, so I just knew that I was just a winger, basically.
Nice. Now, that pace you mentioned, is that something that comes from, is this something unique to you and your family? Or is this something like your parents have had?
No, my parents are quite small, and obviously I'm quite tall,
Yeah.
6'1" I am. But yeah, I just think practicing on it, just doing a lot of sprinting during football, and I used to play rugby as well, and I used to be a winger in that as well, so I think that's got a lot to do with it.
So how did you stay away from rugby and come back to football?
My love for football just outweighed rugby. And I knew I had to pick one. When I was doing my GCSEs, I was doing both, and it was quite hard to handle both of them as well as doing my academic side, so I chose football.
Yeah. Now, with your football background, could you tell me, what do you think's been like one of your best moments in football? Your proudest moment of football?
Up there is being selected for the first team at such a young age. I think I was 17 when I got first selected. I think it was back in November 2020, I think I got picked. But yeah, I'd say my best is the goal I scored last week against Connors Key.
But now, to get there, to get to the first team and the position you were in last week, is this something that, have you known for a long time you could make the first team? Was it something of a surprise to you to be in that position?
No, not really. I think I've always had it in me. Obviously playing county level as well, I knew I had a bit of talent on me, but with dedication and motivation, all that sort of stuff, and coming up from the academy, I just knew that my goal was to play for the first team.
We'll back up to the academy here. With the academy, you told me you've been here for about the past 4 years as part of the academy, right?
Yeah.
So you originally joined on the under-16 team, was that it?
Under 16, yeah. I was 15 years old. They don't do an under-15s here. So 15-year-olds, I think it's 14, 15 and 16-year-olds all merged with the under-16s. So that's where I started, yeah.
And when you first came here, you mentioned to me as well, you were with Cardiff Met's academy team in the past before then, and then you came back later, right?
Yeah.
What brought you back here?
I think I just heard a lot more about it. Like I said, I live literally 5 minutes away, so it was always around, people talking about it. And with Swanee coming in, I think he's built like this proper family. Because before he was here, I think they were in the 3rd division of the Welsh leagues, and obviously now we're in the Welsh Premier League. So he's got a lot to do with it.
So that's an interesting one, because the academy, of course, a really big focus for Cardiff Met as a university school, of course, in the Welsh Premier League. It's obviously a big deal to how you get players. What's that experience been like for you, coming from the under-16 team to the first team? How has that helped you? How's that helped you progress?
I think it's definitely made me more mature, especially with a lot of the first team being quite older than me. I think some of them are 27, 28. So to be around them has made me mature a lot quicker than if I was to, say, play with people my own age.
Do you think, at the moment, of course, I've heard that you train with the first team pretty much every week. You and the Bucks team, from the Bucks team and the Welsh Premier League team, they train together pretty much every time, correct?
Yeah, so we train Mondays and Thursdays. and obviously with the Bucks game Wednesdays and then the Welsh Premier League game on the Saturdays.
Now that's an interesting one because we looked this up for quite a long time to make sure. We're pretty positive you're the only player in the United Kingdom who scored both for a university team in the middle of the week and then for a semi-professional side on the weekend.
Really?
We think you're the only one in the
Wow.
UK. That's pretty good.
Well, if that's true, then that's amazing. Yeah,
I think
I
so.
feel that any day.
Now with that, is there a lot of continuity between the two? Do you see the goals between the two sides as the same? How does that work for you?
I think everyone in the Bucks team's main objective is to trying to break through into that first team. So yeah, I think Bucks for one is a very good standard. Obviously, like the first team. Yeah, but like I said, like I think everyone's main focus is to try and get into that first team and trying to get their Welsh Premier League appearances under their belt.
So when you guys are setting goals as a squad with everyone all together, are all the goals basically centered on getting to the first team and what the first team will achieve?
Yeah, I think it is drilled into us quite a lot.
What are your personal goals for Cardiff Met? Where do you want to be? Are you aiming to get on the first team and stay there? What are your specific football goals here at Cardiff Met?
My football goals are just trying to just cement my place in the first team, just travel all around the country, playing more and more minutes, and obviously like every season our main focus is to try and get into Europe.
Now, with how the season started so far for you, again, for those who don't know, last week you scored 2 goals in the middle of the week, win against Hartpury for Cardiff Met, and then you also scored the game tying goal on the weekend against Connah's Quay. How important were those 3 goals to you? How important was that experience to you in your development?
Yeah, so I played against USW the game before that. I only had 30 minutes, but I thought I played pretty well in that. But yeah, I started my first games for 11 months, I think, because of my injury that I had. But yeah, I just knew that like if I got in behind, if I just kept going for it, I would have scored. And luckily, I got 2 goals. To be fair, 2 nice goals.
We'll actually go straight to that injury. Describe for me the injuries you've had. I know you had a couple of knee injuries on either leg, correct?
Both legs, yeah.
What exactly happened?
So I used to go to Hartpury College, which was 3 years ago now. I did a training session with them, and then I went into a 50-50 tackle, and I just came off worse. I just felt my knee pop out of place to the right, and then I just knew that it was going to take ages to recover, so I just had to leave. I just think that I wasn't in the right mental state to stay there, because I was primarily there for football reasons. So yeah, that's why I had to go. And last December 2020, I did my right knee. Exactly the same thing, dislocated. But this one I torn ligaments in there. I think it was my PCL and my MCL as well. So I came off worse this time. Again, I went into a 50-50. I think I turned and it just dislocated. We had to stop the training session. I just couldn't move. I was just in so much pain. And it was during the COVID outbreak, so the ambulances, they were just non-existent at that time because there was so much things going on. So they had to stretch me off. My dad had to come and pick me up, and they stuck me in the back of the car, and then I went to A&E, and yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was the most pain I've ever felt in my life. It's
Wow.
horrible.
So that obviously required reconstructive surgery, and how long were you out for?
The first time I was out for 11 months, I think it was. I think it was about 4 or 5 months before I started running again. But this time I think it was, I've currently been out for like 10 months. I wouldn't say I'm back 100% fit yet, but I'm almost there, maybe in a few weeks. But I think the first time I was quite like wary, because I haven't experienced anything like that before, so I was quite wary of what I wanted to do. But this time I knew I was comparing it to my last time, so I think that's why my rehab has been a lot quicker this time.
So the rehab was quicker. When did you come back to training for the first time after this injury? How recent was that?
I think my first training session was in May. I was mainly in the gym, just trying to build up my quad again, just trying to build up the muscle in there. But I don't think I kicked the ball until June, and I think my first full training session was end of August, early September.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a very.
So
good
it's
time.
recent then.
Yeah.
How
Definitely.
much does the injury affect you? You mentioned a little bit about how it took you some time to work back into things and go back into challenges. How much, though, has this injury affected your confidence in what you do and can do?
Oh yeah, massively. I think that if I didn't have the mental power that I have, like I think a lot of people would have just called it quits after, especially having both injuries, being out for 2 years in total. I think people would have just thought like football's just not for me. But I just have that determination on my side, and I just want to go far in football. So I think that has spurred me on a bit.
How far do you think you can go in football? Theoretically speaking, of course, but how far do you want to go personally?
I want to go all the way. I'm taking it a year at a time, but I just want to just get a pro contract and just play football for as long as I can, really.
Now that, coming from the academy at Cardiff Met, of course, you're here at university now, you're studying as well. Remind me, you're studying a
Sports management
degree at the moment, and you're in your first year here, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
So with that, obviously your sports management career and then your football career as well, do you think, is the sports management career going to be something you'd like to do after you play football? How would you like to manage that along with football?
I think having a degree, or trying to get a degree here is kind of my backup plan B. Like I said, I want to become a professional footballer, so that's my plan A. But just to, like, if that doesn't happen, then I have a degree on my side, so I can just go out looking for a job then. But I'm not sure what job I want to go for yet.
Yeah. You mentioned to me earlier as well, your brother plays for the academy too, correct? What's his name?
Finn Roberts.
Finn Roberts. What position does he play?
He's centre midfield.
He's not better than you, is he?
No chance. No chance.
Would he say he's better than you?
He probably would, yeah. But he knows deep down that he's not.
Now, I ask about him because you mentioned your experience with the academy and how it helped you mature, of course, as well. And I'm sure the process would be somewhat similar for him. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I think he just wants to try and follow the same path as me. I think he does want to come to university here, mainly because of how good the setup is here for the football.
Now, about that, so obviously the setup is great for football here with the academy. The academy is something great.
Yep.
Is that academy preparing you for like a pro lifestyle, do you think, as a football player, if you can make it there?
Yeah, definitely. Like the coaches, some of them have been pros before, so they know everything about it. A lot of them have got their A licenses in coaching, so they know a lot about it, and they develop a lot of players as well into becoming better ones.
If you wouldn't mind, can you think of any specifics about what they do that makes the academy or their professional coaching so much better than what you'd find elsewhere here?
I think a lot of it is to do with because they play at such a high level as well, so they have that game knowledge about them, so they can use their knowledge and bring that down to the younger lot.
So Brandon, earlier you mentioned your injury and how that had a big impact on your confidence and obviously what you were able to do for 2 years. Talk to me about your specific path through that injury, the history and how that's affected you. What do you think has changed for you with the injuries in your life?
So when I did my left knee, I dislocated my left knee first, and that was back in November 2019 in Hartbury. I used to go to Hartbury, and I wanted to go there for trying to make it as a professional. But obviously that didn't go to plan. So I was in training, I went into a 50-50 tackle and I just came off worse and just felt my knee just pop out to the right hand side. And yeah, I was in agony. Coaches came on, medics came on, all and stretched me off. And then at that point I knew I had to have an operation. So it's quite a big thing to have an operation at such a young age. So I had my operation in November time or October time actually. That was a whole new experience. Obviously being on anaesthetic and stuff, and I had to stay the night. And it took me a few days to get back into feeling 100% in myself. And then not to mention the rehab. I think I didn't get back playing until I think it was 7 months.
Wow.
I had out. Yeah, it's a very long time. So obviously that's got a lot to do with confidence and like all mentally and stuff. And then obviously I did my other one in December 2020. The surgeon said that I was born without any grooves in my knees.
Really?
Yeah, grooves.
Wow.
So he said that they were always going to happen, both of them. It was just a matter of time and like kind of movements and stuff like that. So yeah, I had an operation in January time. I just kind of like being back to square one again. Like I thought I was on the mend. I was doing really well in my football. Obviously breaking into the first team and training with them a lot. And then just to be set back again, it was quite hard. Sometimes I thought, is football meant for me? Like, is something telling me that like football's it's just not for me? But I was just dedicated. I know that I want to just try and go as far in football as I can, and with dedication, I know I will end up there.
Now, earlier, if you don't mind me asking, you mentioned your determination, of course, to become a pro player, but also this type of determination to come back from 2 major injuries and to come back better off for it, that's something unique. Where does that determination and confidence in yourself, where does that come from for you?
To be honest, I don't actually know. I think it may be due to me just wanting to become a footballer. Before I said that my plan B is to get a degree in sports management.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what job I want, but I know for sure that I want to be that footballer.
Awesome. That's pretty unique, of course. Not just the experience of getting there, but that type of determination. You don't see that very often. I want to go back to one thing you mentioned about your confidence, how confidence is a big part of your game. And you also mentioned you're about 3 weeks or so away from being back to full fitness, I guess, after your injury here. What specific things do you do to improve your confidence as part of your game?
So sometimes I go over my local field, just have a kick about with my brother, and then a lot of it's to do in training. Obviously do the drills with the coaches and the other boys, but a lot of it is in the gym as well. So going through just doing a lot of weights, putting the weight through my knee, just all of the simple stuff.
So with that, when you go into the future now, are you afraid you'll injure yourself again, or are you not really worried about that at this point?
No, because my left knee's held fine. It's been perfect. No issues with it at all. And I know my surgeon who did it. He's done a lot of professional players in the past, knees, so I have full confidence in him. But yeah, I think they took a hamstring ligament from my hamstring.
Yeah.
And they threaded it through and pinned it with a pin. So I got 2 pins in my knees. So hopefully I'm relying on them.
Yeah,
I'm relying on them to keep them in place.
Now, you don't feel any negative effects from that now, do you?
No, not at all. But sometimes I look back on it and think of the journey that I've been on, but I'm very proud of myself that I've just kept to it.
Awesome. Well, Brandon, thank you for your time today. It was great to meet you, and I appreciate you taking the time
Thank
to
you
do
very
this.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.